On the front of the book, a statement that sounds too good to be true. Lose fat without dieting, hunger, or exercise. Peter is talking to the authors of this controversial book. Peter?
Thanks, Jill. I have to admit, I looked at the book and said, these people have some convincing to do. Durk Pearson and Sandy Shaw have written the Life Extension Weight Loss Program. Durk and Sandy are both with us today.
Hi.
Thanks for coming in. I'm going to let you try and convince me. To tell you the truth, I looked at it, I said, no, this doesn't ring true to me, especially the one thing that really jumped out at me. I can be stronger without exercise?
Well, to gain muscle strength, it's necessary to do exercise. However, it doesn't take very much. Even 5 minutes a day can produce a substantial increase in strength. Just as a demonstration of this, we've got a couple of steel horseshoes here. Please take a look at them. You'll see that they're not lead or aluminum or anything like that. Sandy has been using peak output exercise a few minutes a day. And
how many is a few?
Well, between 2 and 5 minutes a day.
I actually haven't exercised for about 1.5 years, but you can maintain the muscles that you have using our techniques. To gain muscle, you have to do exercise, but you can maintain muscles without exercise.
You say this in spite of the fact that almost everybody in the medical community and the sports community says you have to exercise 4 times a week or 3 times a week, 20 minutes to half an hour a day.
It depends entirely upon what you want to accomplish. If you want to play a great game of tennis or win a marathon, you're going to have to run hours a day. There's no getting around that if you want a lot of stamina. If you want big muscles, a little bit of fat, and a lot of strength, it's possible to do it with a much shorter exercise program, one designed by NASA for the astronauts to provide cardiovascular conditioning in orbit.
Why don't I bend this?
It makes a mess. Now, is this a legitimate horseshoe?
Yes, that's a steel horseshoe.
Well, the other one, I have a whole suitcase full of them.
Yeah, you can take your pick and try bending them yourself. Go right ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Now, you're a man, and I bet you do some exercise as well. Sandy is 42 years old, completely sedentary. She spends all her time on a waterbed and in a swivel chair. And, of course, she's a woman, 5'3", weighs about 116 pounds.
Well, that's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, for a 5 to 3 inch woman.
Well, it doesn't prove anything to me, though, really.
It isn't supposed to be proof.
No, the proof is here in the scientific papers that we cite. We cite the work of several hundred scientists, some 386 published scientific reports, peer-reviewed in the scientific literature. Our techniques for appetite control, instead of saying to people, don't eat something like this, you've got to resist it with willpower, that's very difficult. It's much easier to tell people how to make themselves feel full.
You've got all this proof sitting here. How come the medical and scientific community does not embrace your book and say, wow, we finally have it?
The scientific community does, though. It's a scientific community that produced those papers.
That's correct. What we're reporting in here are the results of work of hundreds of other scientists, including double-blind, placebo-controlled experiments on human beings. Groups such as Wortman and Wortman from the MIT Department of Nutrition. They found out what controls carbohydrate craving. There's nothing at all controversial about that. Any scientist in the area of nutrition who's read the papers from MIT will understand that it's the level of serotonin, a chemical in the brain that your brain makes out of tryptophan, an essential amino acid, that controls carbohydrate craving. Double-blind, placebo-controlled experiments have proved in humans that tryptophan supplements are almost as effective at suppressing carbohydrate hunger as prescription anti-appetite drugs.
I'm sorry we don't have any more time. I wish we did, because I'd like to ask you some more questions about that. But, okay, Jill, back to you.
Thank you, Peter. This just in.